was the most lovely woman ever. She was so kind and generous and loving and loved. She loved taking care of her garden and her flowers. She was a very active member of the kibbutz. She was responsible for the clothes, so in terms of doing the laundry, fixing, ironing. She was responsible for all of that in the community. And just to us, her grandchildren, she was the best grandma we could have asked for. She always offered us a very safe space to come and talk to her. She was very comforting and just so, so loving. It was literally like heaven. You hear the birds, and there's loads of green and trees and grass and children laughing and playing and dogs running around freely. It was just heaven. There was a shared pool that everyone would go to, and a shared dining room that we would all eat together at. And the people of Nir Oz just really believed in peace and were very peaceful people who acted from a place of kindness and generosity and love all the time. I was just in line for food abroad. I started getting notifications on my phone that there are missiles coming towards my grandma and that area. So I got very concerned and I texted her. I was like, "Oh, is this real? Are you actually being bombed right now?" And she's like, "Yeah, we don't know why, but I'm okay. I'm in the safe room. Don't worry about me." I told her that I love her and she should take care of herself. And if she knows what's going on, she was like, "No, I don't know what's happening. Everything is okay." And then just a few minutes later, I get a notification on my phone that she posted something on Facebook, a video, which is strange because she usually never posts anything on Facebook. So I was like, "Oh, let's see. Maybe she accidentally shared something." So I open it and then I see just the most horrible, horrible video of her lying on the floor in her living room, just surrounded by blood and terrorists holding their guns above her, screaming in Arabic. I just couldn't believe it's real. I was so shocked. I was trying to understand what was happening because it seemed so surreal. I was just there. I just talked to her. There's no way something like this could ever happen in our home, in the place I love so much. So it didn't make sense at all. So I was just phoning people. I was calling my parents. They're like, "It doesn't seem good. We don't know. We're checking the details." My brother called me. He was like, "Do you know what's happening? Do you know if it's fake? Do you know if it's real?" I'm like, "I don't know. I'm trying to understand as well." But she wasn't replying. And then I called my cousin, and then she was screaming and crying and saying, "Did you see how they murdered grandma?" And then I started crying, and I was like, "Okay, so it's not just me. So another person thinks it's also my grandma, and so it's for a fact her." And we got the verification just at the end of last week, of what's left of her. So there was a long time of waiting and uncertainty as well. Everything was on fire. We got a friend to FaceTime us while she was in Nir Oz and filming the house, and you can just see everything burned down to my mom's wedding dress and pictures and letters and everything, jewelry, furniture, and hair, my grandma. Everything was just burned down. The only thing left was a tiny necklace that's like burned and black, and it's just unimaginable. I cannot explain. I mean, it did take more than 2 weeks to verify her DNA because it was so difficult with the conditions of her being burnt. So I don't know how much of her is left. I really don't know. I know that they've been through hell, that the terrorists went house by house and terrorized each person that was there. They robbed people, they hit people with just metal. old women who are just beaten up and have bruises on their faces, if not killed or abducted. Um, just horrendous event. People, one by one, have a really terrible story to tell. Actually, a third of the abductees are from Nir Oz. So 70 people from Nir Oz are abducted, and around 30 are murdered. I would want the abducted people to come back home. Those are grandma and kids and young people who have their lives planned ahead of them. We just want them back home as soon as possible because each day that goes by, we don't know what's going on with them. We don't know how they're treated and what they're eating and how they're doing. And it's just very concerning to know that so many people are being held in tunnels by a terrorist group. It's such a scary thought. We just want them back home. I think that the destruction is just so massive that we are still trying to comprehend how much we've lost, since it wasn't just a one-day event of where just my grandma has been murdered. It's many people that we've known that have been murdered, and many people that we've known that are now in Gaza, and a whole kibbutz that we loved so much that's been burned down and terrorized. So it's just, we cannot, it's just so much. It's worse than a horror movie.